Welcome to MVP, the Messiah Victory Podcast, the #1 Wells Lutheran podcast in Wichita, Kansas. Hosted by pastors John Rockhoff and Jake Jenswold, MVP is your go-to destination for lively conversation on hot topics with a biblical perspective. They'll also be talking about what's going on currently at Messiah and Victory churches. In our very first episode ever, the pastors will be answering some questions, sharing their 5-year plans, and also talking about hairstyles, zombies, sports, and so much more. So stay tuned.
Messiah Victory Podcast. We're gonna do this thing? I think that's a yes. It's our very first time, and I'm just gonna tell you, like all things, it'll get better, right?
Hopefully. Can't get worse.
Pastor Jenswold and I go to lunch every week, and then somebody said, well, you spend all this time talking about your church, the two sites we have, Victory and Messiah, and maybe we could turn this into a podcast. And it's been talked about for a long time, and finally it was placed on a Facebook page and committed us, so here we are. And Leanne, our producer, editor, says she'll take out anything that's controversial, so we're free to talk as we go. And like I said, this will probably get better.
How much controversial are you planning?
Well, there's a few things on here I maybe got some question marks by, so we never know what might cross the line a little bit. So
perfect.
Hopefully not much. But why a podcast? We understand that we have two sites, Messiah people that are watching, Victory people that are watching, and others interested in our ministries that. We have an east side now with Victory. Pastor Jenswold pastors there, and I'm on here on the west side at Messiah. And sometimes we know what's going on, and maybe some of our leaders know what's going on, but the idea that how about making sure all our people have a forum in which they can jump into or at least listen to and find out some of the things that we talk about every week. And so part of our podcast is going to be what's going on at Victory and what's going on at Messiah. Also will include, I believe, just maybe talking about what we're going to preach on the following Sunday or ministerial parts that are going on. And some of it's just going to be fun. If you like fantasy football, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about fashion because I am a bit of a fashionista. And
obviously,
my protege is, learning from me. Haircuts will be in there. Maybe today, might even get into the haircut because something happened with mine that wasn't very fun. And we may have guests, maybe live guests. Someone mentioned, would both your wives come on? We've been told by our wives that'll never happen, but it's early in the process. Phone-in guests, we could do something like that. We also are going to take questions from people, and we've already got a list of questions here, Pastor Jenswold, that we were looking through. We just were handed these as we started.
We reserve the right to delete any of your questions as well.
And I'm trying to understand if some of these are serious or not. And we have some potential segments if this, doesn't go long enough. If we record like an hour and get like 10 minutes out of it, it might be good. So, we're not shooting for too high here. So, unfortunately, today we're a little bit upstaged by the announcement of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's engagement.
Oh my gosh!
I know, who knew that would come when we're starting our first podcast. So, as far as clickbait, nobody's going to be clicking on us because they're going to be clicking on that story.
That's why.
And maybe we should have delayed this or so, but it is.
We can control that.
It is what it is.
We're recording now. We can post it.
Yeah, we can post it.
Now.
Yeah, that's true. This may take a while to edit and to get out. So maybe it'll be the fall by the time we get there. One of the main things that we maybe would start out with every time is each of us saying what are some things going on at each of our sites to let everyone know that, we're working together here, but we do have separate things that are important. And I'll let Pastor Jenswold take it first for Victory while I figure out what we're doing on this side. So he gives these updates at council meetings. He gives these updates on some of our board meetings. But just for everyone to know, here's what's going on at Victory.
Yeah. So depending on when this comes out, we will be just about to go to Andover Days, or possibly it's happening or happened. But September 20th is the Andover Days. It'll be out. Yeah. Okay, I've been assured. So September 20th, we've got Andover Days Festival coming up, we do a lot of planning with them in the early stages, and then we, wherever they need help, if they need people to help with parking or whatever, we're more than happy to lend our folks. I'd say the big one is their business, expo, local craft fair, whatever you want to call it. We'll set up a tent out there and be handing out all of our swag, trying to start conversations about victory and about Jesus. And so that's been really good to us in the past. So that's September 20th. We also, again, this will have happened by the time this comes out. We have a planning meeting tonight to discuss dates for our 1-year anniversary of worship at our current location. So the Lord's let us get together for 1 year in our rented space, and we plan to do something similar to our grand opening with, bounce houses and food and all kinds of fun for everybody. So that'll probably happen beginning of October, maybe middle of October. We'll see what date works best for people. Otherwise, the third thing that is really brand new, so I don't know when it's happening, if it's happening, what the deal is with it, but we'd like to just get our people together at Chicken and Pickle, or maybe Topgolf or something like that, and just go and enjoy being with each other. Because, I don't know, we do a lot of church stuff together, so why not hang out outside of church as well? And because I think we all like each other. So that's going to be coming up too, is a recurring monthly get-together of Victory people, and we'll open it up to Messiah if people are interested in coming out and just hanging out. Unfortunately, it'll probably be on the east side, though, and I know no one drives across town, so I think I'm at my 100 words, so I can't talk again.
He's out.
Be quiet now.
There was a question whether Pastor Jenswold would get the over-under on 100 words for this podcast. I don't know what they're saying about me talking too much. Is that what they're trying to say?
I think they're saying that I only need a few words.
Okay, and I need many, and
Yes.
that's maybe why. But just so people know, I noted this at the church council meeting. In the last year, we've had an 8% increase in membership through Bible information classes on the east side with Pastor Jenswold, and through the Bible information class on my side, on the west side here. So that's kind of the purpose of having two sites, is we want to reach the east side of Wichita. And knowing that to completely have it to be a separate mission and its own church, we really like the multi-site model where we're one church and two sites working together, and each having our own uniqueness, individuality, whatever you want to call it. But it seems to be working, and we're happy to keep going as long as we can the way we are. Over here, it's just some taking care of the building for years. After we built our child care center, it had a different color than our church. Well, now we're painting it all to match the same. I guess it would be a gray color from what we have in church and the outside. And we have a wall being torn down outside around air conditioners that was going to fall down. New Bible information class going to start in the fall. That's one where we have all our new families from our child care center sit in on 4 classes. And hopefully those that are unchurched take an interest in what we have to offer. Bible information classes go pretty much around the clock with us, and we take people through whenever we can. Other than that, on an average Sunday, we maybe get 60, 70, 75 people, 40 people or so. So, we're kind of divided with our members, that some go back and forth to each site, which is kind of a cool thing. We see some people sometimes, and then sometimes you see some of our people, so that's a cool thing. I just showed Pastor Jenswold the text. We usually choose from the readings for the Sunday. Coming up this Sunday, the theme is "Those who exalt themselves will be humbled," and there's a kind of cool gospel on Luke 14 where Jesus talks all about what some people think is etiquette, about where they should sit and don't take the place of honor and things like that, but there's much more to that. So have you figured out if you think you might preach on that? It's his first time he's seen it, so you're not
time I'm seeing this information, yes, on what's coming up for this Sunday. So obviously very early in the week that we're recording this, but probably leaning towards the gospel for this week. So far, I like this. I like this series, this Wounds That Heal idea, these hard sayings from Jesus, which I think sort of lends itself to, you should probably preach on what Jesus says, since it's hard sayings from Jesus.
Sometimes I do that, yeah. Sometimes I do that.
So gospel makes a lot of sense for this week too. I should pull that up, read through that a little bit while we're sitting here. John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. They're not going to use that.
That's Luke 14.
That's John.
Oh, this is Luke, though.
Oh, yeah, I was airballing. I'm in John.
I do want you to know I'm recording again.
He's in the wrong book.
I'm in the wrong book. I thought it said John. That's why I was like, isn't that
Luke? It's Luke.
Jesus saying that I'm not? Okay, that makes way more sense.
Yeah. This is the sermon. This is the sermon writing process. We go first. We got to make sure we're in the right book.
And if you're in the wrong book,
it's probably going to be okay.
You know,
so usually we preach on one of the three readings that are suggested for the Sunday because there's a general theme. So we look over the ones that they have, and most time we're preaching on the same text, which is kind of cool because we have our lunch. We can talk about that a little bit and just kind of say, hey, what are you preaching on? Any thoughts on things like that? So that's preacher stuff. So still figuring it out. You got to figure it out.
I'm on board now.
Now you're so.
Yep.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah, it ties back to this last week, Luke 13.
Yes, and I preached on Luke 13 as well. So that'll be good. So just so you know the process, we break it down, go through a little bit of the original text to figure out anything that we should note there. Early in the week, get some hymns and everything picked out. He writes his on Thursday,
if not before.
And once the Holy Spirit is done with him, he comes over to my house, and it's usually on a Saturday. So that's how it works really nice because then,
we can share.
Incidentally, aren't you looking, or your secretary is accepting new applications?
Well, we had a little mishap with the copier, and Leanne, my secretary, is now...
This would be a great time for a bleep. Leanne.
Leanne,
oh.
bleep! Yeah, and we're not cussing when we get bleeped. It's just that we're saying things that we shouldn't.
Usually.
Well, for the most part. If we get a little riled up, you never know what's going to happen. But just the copier kind of blew up at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. Unfortunately, it worked. It didn't work. It worked. She's a little frustrated. I think she'll get over. I think we'll be good. So
it's tough.
No applications yet because it's a great job. But Leanne, you've had it before. You could speak for it. So, hey, we've got some questions. You want to tackle any of these questions? Why don't you point to one? Because there's other possible segments on here, and just so maybe viewers, is there a subscribe button they can hit?
Yes, I will go over that at the end of this podcast.
Okay, just how many subscribers before we start getting some cash for this? That's okay. You tell that. Okay, that's later.
We'll discuss that.
Business.
There were suggestions for other possible segments. Are any of these worth mentioning?
I mean,
one is what's up with Deb? That's just my wife, and there's always something up with Deb. I could go over some of those. I don't know where this come from. Crazy Cat House, with me, I got it. We have a cat, and
do you?
Well, yeah.
No way.
A cat.
Well,
a cat. How many
cats? We have cats.
Plural.
Well, cats and a dog.
How many pictures of these cats do you have?
Pictures on the wall?
On your phone?
Maybe one or two when, my wife sent me one that got saved or something, but...
It's weird that your wife takes selfies with your cats, and it's you.
There's reasons why they're on there, okay. So, and
we need to get into it. It's just a crazy cat.
Okay, yeah. And then...
No.
And then Victory and Vogue, Style and Fashion with Pastor J. Does that mean which Pastor John?
Pastor John.
Jenswold.
Oh, I thought
your
that was.
Pastor R.
Oh, I thought you were talking Pastor Jonathan. I thought that was my session for my fashion.
It was.
So
I was.
We have kind of differing.
I want to learn.
We have differing fashion statements, but that's okay. Some of these are serious questions. Eeny, meeny, miny. Point one, we can go.
Where do we go? Start serious or start? Let's start here.
The bottom?
Because
the over-under we always talked about.
Yeah, I think we can.
A lot of people thought this was just a forum for me to tell my stories.
Yeah.
Maybe not the first time. Well, you might get to, most of you have heard my stories because I tell them all the time. Going on the way up, you want to go to the next one?
Sure, yeah.
What is religion? Why are some people bothered by organized religion?
Okay.
We have kind of thrown this around in our Bible classes. You and I have talked about this a little bit. Give your thoughts on it. I know I have some that we hear this that people just I don't do religion or I don't like organized religion.
Yeah. Yeah, doesn't that, I mean, just the question, what is religion, sort of implies that they're all like equal, right? Like there's, like any option is fine. Like, okay, who cares about religion? Whatever religion that is, you're all just looking for a God. And I would maybe argue that what we're doing here, maybe in a vague sense, is religion, but it's also, like Jesus says, he's the way, the truth, and the life. So over just like a vague kind of, what is religion? We're talking about a real person who did real things, and it has real meaning in your life, you know? Like, your thoughts?
I think, what is religion, and maybe the follow-up, why are they bothered by organized religion? That one, I think, is easier for me to answer, that people don't like being held accountable.
Yeah.
And if something, why don't people join clubs, or why do they say, well, let me check into that first, because I don't want to be held or bound by any rules. And they'll see religion as simply saying, well, there are going to be rules there. And so you get people saying, well, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. Because then they're saying, I do believe in something out there, and something that is a higher type being or power, but I don't want to be tied into telling what that person or what that God is, and I don't want him telling me what I have to do. And so we've talked about it, and somewhere the saying is, well, my truth. So that's where people get this my truth nonsense, because they're not tied to organized religion, so they don't have any absolute truths, either morally, ignoring their conscience, or even in when you're thinking of what's put down in God's word. They want to interpret that any way they want. They want to do the salad bar type, picking and choosing what they want to believe. And so then talking to people all the time about why no church? Well, I don't really believe in organized religion. And so that's a catchphrase. People have grabbed a hold of it, and it just says, that's a good reason. That's as good as any, so that you won't bother me anymore, because I just don't do organized religion. So, yeah, we just got to overcome that by saying, well, what do you believe then? And who are you accountable for? And try to get them to understand organized religion isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing. You get answers.
No, and as you said, right, organized around God's revealed, like what he reveals to us. Because if it's down to my own truth, then in the words of Pilate, what is truth, right? Like we can all have different truths, and there is nothing objective to cling to there, and there's nothing to organize around, right? So I think if you are like spiritual but not religious, that is kind of all you can do is like, well, yeah, who knows what church, but if there is a God who's revealed himself to us in his will, well then let's organize around those principles, right?
Yeah, and if you get enough of a mob mentality where people say, there's a lot of people that think this way, well, then it's easy to latch onto, because I think I've got something that people aren't going to shoot me down for, because everyone does it, and that's become a catchphrase for it. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Are we just moving up the thing? Do you want another one here?
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Someone said, besides ministry, what keeps or has kept the Jenswolds in Wichita?
It's a great question. Yeah. So obviously ministry has kept us in Wichita. But besides that, it's been an awesome place to raise kids. It's a little bit slower than coming from the big city, which was a change, but it's really one that we've liked, right? There's blessings on both sides, big city and a little bit smaller, and we've just noticed the slower pace is kind of a good thing. There's also, there's still a ton to do here. Baseball games, hockey games, the zoo, exploration place. We've found restaurants that we love. Like Wichita's a good city to live in, on top of being a great place to do ministry. By
its absence here, I'm also reading into this. What's
kept you here for 30?
Or what keeps Rockhoff from not leaving? Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. So
6 years.
Truth be told, signed here out of the seminary, and my wife leaned over and she says, "Where is Kansas?" And I said, "I'm not sure, but I've heard of Wichita. Never been here in our lives." We came down here. We laugh about this because we really said, we'll put in our 3-4 years of a lot of times on opening ministry, and we'll go back home. And we've had opportunities to do so, and we just said, wow, the Holy Spirit had some other ideas for us, and even looking down the road to retire and stay here, because this has become home. And I agree with a lot of what Pastor Jenswold says, and a lot of it has to do with the church people, working with a great group of people, all sinners like all people are, but still people that receptive to your ministry, because we know of pastors, sadly, that might be almost waiting for a call to come because their ministry and their time is not as smooth as it might be. And,
that is a huge blessing.
And I've thankfully never had that where I said, boy, I think I need to leave because things are difficult here. And so, yeah, just a blessing to have. And kind of a follow-up, it says, for both of us, first of all, where do you see Victory in 5 years? And understanding, Holy Spirit's got his own
Lord's
thing,
church, he does what he sees fit with his church. 5 years, man. Well, I think on our plan in the next 5 years, we would purchase some land of some kind. And at the very end of that 5 years, I think or maybe 4 years, would be perhaps looking to build our own building somewhere, I think would be the goal in that 5 years. Hopefully, not just like from the physical perspective of physically where's our church going to be. Hopefully the Holy Spirit keeps doing the work he's doing, right? Because, we really have had a lot of new folks come in, a lot of new people joining the church, like you said, 8% increase or whatever over the year, which no credit to us, right? It's the Lord's church, but he's really been doing some cool things, and it'd be fun to watch that continue to grow.
My mom was wondering.
Yeah.
Where do your prospects come from? Or like people who join, how do they?
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay. It seems like a cop-out, but it's not. This is the truth. It comes from people telling their friends, right? It comes from you think about it, any person that you want to come to your church, if you actually want to have a meaningful conversation about that, you have to have some kind of a relationship with them, right? Because if you go up to a stranger and you say, come to my church, there's a chance, but it's not likely. If it's someone that you know and you've demonstrated, I care about you and I want to share this thing with you, they're so much more likely to listen and actually give it a shot. And then that's where the Lord, does his thing and the Holy Spirit takes over from there. But really it's been Maddie and our family it started, we were out in the community. Our daughter was playing softball. We met some folks that way. We've gone to some restaurants and met some other people. And then we've had our own members just talk to their friends and be like, hey, we got this new church. You should come check it out. So yeah, we get some walk-ins from time to time. Yes, some phone calls saying I'm moving into the area and I need, I'm looking for a Lutheran church. But really, I'd say the most has been just friends inviting friends.
Statistics will show that friendship evangelism, as we always call it, the relational evangelism, it works. I'm a firm believer you got to keep lines in the water, so we'll do some mailings, we'll go out to the county fair, we'll do some canvassing. We advertise and we have a Bible information class. We have kind of VBS and Christmas for kids, things like that. I like to think that's getting our name out there, so we're on the map, so people have heard of us. Mm-hmm. Our last 3 families that have joined, I believe, have all come through this class, which we decided to make a mandatory class for any new families in our child care center to go through 4 basic classes on sin, grace, faith, and works. And some a little reluctantly, but it's interesting that you find the people that are unchurched. And I use the angle that you've entrusted your children to us. That's wonderful. But what about raising them? And it's just how God has blessed us with a family from each one of those that comes through and has joined and are wonderful, wonderful members. So that's a cool thing. And what you said too, just meeting people and talking to people, which we emphasize in our sermons and Bible classes that everyone knows someone that isn't going to church, and to say, what can I do? How can I impact that person somehow? So I think that's one of the main things to do. So Messiah in 5 years, I was told not to use the R word, but I am 64, and if by God's grace I'm still functioning. But I think we've kind of gotten over the early bumps of trying, what do you do with 2 sites? And for me personally to say, here's a chunk of my members that are no longer worshiping here that over 38 years of ministry have grown up with, some of them. So we're kind of used to that. So we've adjusted to 1 service for now because that brings all our people together, and you have 1 service instead of we used to have 2. And I think as we continue to grow here and see the blessings we have and see both sites kind of grow, we've talked about if things change and we decide to become 2 separate congregations, I don't know how much that would affect us, except a few things like a few details. But I think for now, most of our members want this idea of staying together. that we're part of the Messiah Victory family, and don't really want to see that notion of us kind of splitting. Hence why we do a kind of a podcast here, let people know, boy, we're working together. This is something that, I've seen as a great blessing, which a little fear and trepidation in saying, let's bring another guy in. And having known Pastor Jenswold from being in the circuit, I thought that would be a good fit. And of course, he knew it would be with me because I'm kind of his idol. But it's well, maybe I don't know those words you use, but I got that vibe from you. So
no, that's good.
That's a cool thing.
That's good that you picked up on that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think I ever said that.
You were tossing it out there.
Loud.
You were kind of throwing it out there. I could tell from a lot of things you said, and you put it out, and I picked it up. That's what you kind of did.
I got it.
It's the kids say, put it out there, pick it up. So that's what the kids say.
All of them say.
Here's a serious one, and this is one that some events. Sometimes we think about this. It says, I would like the pastors to discuss not only from a biblical perspective, but also from a worldly perspective, why living together before getting married is not a good idea.
Jump right in there, huh?
Yeah. Well, let's not save that for anything.
Yeah.
We don't know if this pilot project is going to get off past the pilot episode, so we better get it in right now.
Yep.
From the societal common sense thing, there are statistics out here that say if you think that by living together with someone that's going to make marriage a better thing, more divorces come from people that have lived together than those that have not. Because basically, it's built on the wrong premise. It's built on, we've got to find out if we're compatible, if this works, not only in relations, in the bedroom, but also do they squeeze the toothpaste the same way, or do they get on my nerves? And there's no commitment there. It's just, we got to find out if our personalities match up. Personalities don't need to match up. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're opposite, hence my wife and I. But what are we built on? We're not built on, do we really have the same interests and likes and movies and TV? No, it's based on Christ, and it's based on what we know our faith is. And so if you just toss that out the window because you say we're not going to do what the Bible says, but we're going to do our own thing, you're already on shifting sand, on shaky grounds, because there's no foundation there. So how is that going to work? And you would think that people, it's clear in Scripture, and too many even Christians are buying into this, everyone does it, to the point that, and this was probably 5 years ago, after having a young couple in my Bible information class and going over the sixth commandment in marriage, came up to me and said, we never knew that living together was against God's word, and we were going to move in until we heard what you said. So we're dealing with a society now that applauds not engagement, but the step before that. Guess what? He asked me to move in with him. And so we think that's a good thing. And I think we as Christians maybe just look the other way, or, I didn't clap, and we don't speak out against it. And so we've got members of the Wisconsin Synod, good Christians brought up in confirmation, that are doing this, and still in the back of their minds probably know it's not the right thing to do, but everyone does it. And maybe this seems the best way to do it in circumstances, maybe because of living situations with apartments and leases and things. And so we just throw everything that God says out the window, and we do it our own way. And Scripture says, there's a way that seems right to people. In the end, it leads to death. And here's another one. It seems like it makes sense, which we can prove otherwise just from statistics. But I don't even like using the statistics. I just like saying, what does God say? Yeah,
and to that, why do marriage at all, right? If it's not something that's from God, because if it's a man-made thing, then I guess we don't need it, and we can move in together and whatever, live how we want. But if this is God's thing, well, the very essence of marriage is committing to another person, right? It's not, I will marry you and be there for you if I like you, right? And when I like you, and if I want to be there. The marriage vows say in sickness and in health, right? It's even when I don't want to be, even when it's hard for me to love you, I'm going to love you, right? And so instead of testing the waters to say do I like them enough to marry them? Marriage is your promise. I'm going to, right? I'm going to love you even when I don't want to. It's the 1 Corinthians 13, right? Everyone loves that. It's actually sort of a terrifying passage, right? Love is kind, love is gentle, it doesn't envy, it doesn't boast, right? Like, my love doesn't do any of those things, right? My love does envy and does all these things. Like, only God can love like that, and that is the essence of marriage, right? Is that I will do these things, even when I don't want to.
And to just say, well, this makes sense to me, and I know God doesn't want me to do this, it's a dangerous thing to say, because, you know, in Hebrews it talks about if you have the knowledge of the truth and you continue to go against it, there's no sacrifice for sin. In other words, you placed yourself outside the family of God. And so, you know, when I'm dealing with people that say, okay, I know you're right, I know what I've been taught, but we're still going to do this. Man, that's why sometimes I think we got to go back to just a simple class on, you know, this is how we do it. And yeah, we're almost to the point when people say that they're getting engaged and they want to talk about a wedding date, that one of their first questions happens to be, are you living together? And I don't know if we're even shy about that anymore, because that seems to be,
you have to, unfortunately, you have to ask now, right? It used to maybe be assumed, like, obviously not, but
I used to hand out the information form with the address, and if they happen to put their same address, I go, oh, you guys got the same address down here, like, you made a mistake here, and they'd go, well, and I'd go, well, we got to talk about something. Now we just come out and say, well, first of all, you're not living together, are you?
Right.
And in the statistic, I counsel a young gal, not a member, but came to see me about, she said she had been living with her boyfriend for 3 years, and he suddenly said he didn't want to live with her, and he left. And I said, so what's the problem? She goes, well, he just left me. And I go, yeah, there's no commitment. He could. That's how you guys set it up. You're not married. So if he just wanted to leave, so what's the problem? I said, see why you don't do this? And I said, now your heart's broken. And well, I really thought, no, you made no commitment to each other. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can give you a million reasons why, but
really jumped in the deep end with that one.
Yeah,
I gotta say, that's fiery out of the gate.
Just in case we didn't have questions, I've got some for Pastor Jenswold, and the first one is I've been asked this: why a pastor? Why was it that? When were you led to say, I think this is going to be my vocation? I know family's involved, but when was that kind of when you said this is what I want to be?
Wow. Didn't give me any prep time for that.
No, we don't.
It was when I realized that I wasn't going to be an NFL quarterback. That was when I realized.
First grade.
First grade.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Might be kindergarten. No, that is a good question. I think it was always my dad is a pastor. My grandpa's a pastor. I have uncles that are pastors. My brother is a pastor. So it was always there. But maybe the older I got, the less I thought I was going to do it. Until I got to the seminary. And then I think that was when I was actually in. I think once I started going to the seminary, I thought, oh, okay, I've been sort of going each step along the way of like, well, okay, I don't know what else I would do. Let's be a pastor maybe. And then finally got to the seminary and went, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to tell people about Jesus. So,
if I were to ask that question,
why are you pastor?
My bishop, the man I spent my vicar year, my intern year under, he claimed that he was the product of the divine rut. And I said, what does that mean? He says, well, I was going to school. I went to a Lutheran high school, and a bunch of my friends were going on to Northwestern College, study for the ministry. I just went along, and he says, all of a sudden one day I'm being ordained as a pastor. And mine is similar to that. I never had a lightning flash or a Martin Luther moment where the thunderstorm hit, and I said, I promise to be a pastor. But my dad's a pastor. Two of my brothers were studying to be pastors, and I was the oldest. And I thought, all my summer jobs, I used to think I would not want to be doing this full time. And it's just like I go, wow, check. And I had a bunch of them, check, and kind of the same thing. And I've had people say, well, you had to have a calling, and I said, well, God doesn't say He's going to work with a Pentecostal, charismatic striking of that, and the fact that you just know and. Mm-hmm. Went along with it and never felt like I should do something else. So I was asked this question by an 8-year-old boy once.
Okay.
What's the best day you've ever had as a pastor?
Wow.
I mean, it was pretty deep for...
Wow.
And the best day you've ever had. I had the same reaction, like, okay, well, let me think.
Yeah, the best. Okay, until I can think of another. I don't know if I have a best. There are real highlights. I think there are 3 that are tied, and because I don't know if it gets much better. Baptizing my children. those were highs as a pastor for sure. Weirdly, a lot of the close to death stuff, right? When you get to minister to someone who is about to go to heaven, some of that can be pretty cool and pretty meaningful. Wow, that is a really deep question that I'm going to think about more. It's coming to Wichita.
Well, yeah, that's a given.
Driving.
The given. I didn't,
besides, right? There was like the besides
I
the
forgot
ministry.
that besides
Wichita.
joining up here. And
yeah, man, really good question, 8-year-old. Do you have an answer?
When he asked me, I said, whenever you have that person that doesn't know Jesus or hasn't been really involved in a church and just saying, wow, this is what we needed as a family, or to hear, years ago, after they had joined from our child care center and had been members, that in a letter, when I had a call once, someone who wouldn't have said much said, this changed our life and saved our marriage, and without even knowing it, that kind of thing behind the scenes when it becomes like, wow, this does matter. You mentioned baptizing your children, ordaining my son as a pastor.
That'd be pretty cool.
That, you're up there going, wow, this is cool. Which was weird, though. This 8-year-old, he followed me and goes, okay, what was your worst day? Whew. And it was like not what are the worst things, what was your worst day? And I thought, wow, it's not like we have so many to choose from, but there are some disheartening things that happen.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
I think anytime someone leaves the church, for me, that you do everything to try to let them know, why this is important, what we do, and for some reason they, usually because they're living differently than what God's word says, and they just want out.
Boy, worst day.
It's not even death, because I think death with funerals almost swing to the other way. Kind of some of the best days when you to let people know where they are.
Yeah, that one is even hard. That's actually way harder.
I know some of the scariest days.
I've had some scary days.
Maybe another time.
Another time under the cat. That would be under next time's questions.
Episode itself. Your scary days.
Okay, I've got of your children, and you have like what? You have 4 now.
Three.
Just three. Okay,
just 3.
You don't have 4?
Just the 3. Yep, that I'm aware of.
Is there one coming?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's why I said
we just think 3. Okay,
I think 3.
Which one is your favorite?
That's a really good question, and I'm gonna have to ask you to bleep this out when I say
This
it.
might get cut,
Yeah.
but then it may not. But I'll drop an Easter egg later by mentioning the name of who he says.
My favorite child is, and I'm not gonna say a name here.
Okay. Well, no, not an answer. Answer the tough questions. This one you don't even put down. So, you know what my favorite is? Thomas. So there, it said something.
Oh no, you had a really good.
A couple cats are in the running, ahead of Thomas, but
it's closer than you'd like to admit.
yeah. Well, I have more pictures.
You have way more pictures of the cats.
Well, that's
Than of
I got my phone on me, but I don't want to disprove your theory right now because
Right. Yeah. No, just not right now.
not right now. So, which is going to come first, our Lord's second coming or the Packers beating the Lions? Which one is maybe the favorite there? Would
That's
you
a
say?
lot. That's a lot of talk.
What's going on there?
You have to play us week 1. So
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. What does that even mean?
it's a bad day for you guys.
Well,
is what it means.
It hasn't been for some time. So I don't know. It's just
Like I said, just a lot of talk before week 1 even happens.
I'm gonna come back to that in a minute.
Gutted.
But, okay.
Gutted coaching staff for Detroit.
They don't take the field. That last time I noticed. If we had Dan
they-
Campbell taking the field
they do drop the plays, though.
against your hockey coach, Guy Lafleur, is that your coach? I mean, 1-on-1 there. It's like David and Goliath if we would have that.
I know, and our David would win.
Well, except I don't know if he's on the Lord's side, so we don't know if that's going to pull it off. So
the Packers on the Lord's team. So
I'm going to talk a little bit about hairstyles. Is that now? Can we consider yours? Is that a true mullet now?
it is not. No.
What make there's business in the front, but there's a lot of party in the back, and I thought that was a mullet.
A lot shorter.
Is that what it is?
The front is incredible.
Whoa!
It's all equal length.
Because someone asked me if I said I think I can put it out there.
You can. It's a fair question. It is not a mullet.
Okay, mine is.
I want a mullet though, just for the record.
Mine was close to a mushroom haircut. I had a bad experience. My members will say he's telling that story again, but this goes back to when I told my wife, I said, people tell me it's getting light on top here, and it's kind of like a solar panel.
It looks like a little sunburn.
Yeah, a little bit of sunburn. And so I said, how about if I just kind of buzz get the super buzz cut? And my wife goes, your head's too big. And I go, honey, and she goes, no, it is. It's just got a big head. And I
said in love.
I think I got like a 7.5 hat that I wear. Is that too big? Is that normal size? It's not like I'm not rocking like an 8.5 cranium. It's a 7.5.
I'm actually shocked to learn that.
Well, yeah,
I thought that's a pretty normal size.
I know, because is it yours? Don't you kind of come close to it?
7.5.
Well, look at that. Now, is my head that much bigger? He's got a lot more hair.
Yes.
But see, I normally have more hair. So I go in. And well, first of all, years ago, I went to the gal who cut my hair, done sports clips for years, and I said, Lacey, I'm thinking of getting the shorter thing, it's thin a little bit. And my wife says my head's too big, and she goes, yeah, your head's too big. What?
Maybe it's proportional.
I
don't know.
It seems like you should have a big head.
Maybe. I'm thinking, really? And so she said, leave as much hair there as possible. I go, okay. So I get haircuts about every 2 months. Yours is weekly. You get every Monday you get a haircut.
Does it look like I get weekly
Well,
haircuts?
that is true. I don't know, not with this one, this one. But, hairstyles change with him. Mine doesn't. So I go into sports clip, different sports clips, because the other one was too busy. Jennifer is cutting my hair, and she walks right into what every pastor's dream, and she goes, "Oh, you got an easy day today, or finishing up early?" I go, "No, I'm pastor at the church right up the road." Boom, there's where I'm in. And I said, "Where do you go to?" She goes, "Oh, I don't go to church. I'm not very religious." And whoa, floodgates like, "Well, tell me about that." Well, bad experience when I was growing up, and I just never have gotten back. And I said, well, she has 2 teenagers, one from her second marriage, she's pregnant. And I go, wow, it's really important for kids, especially early stage. And she interrupted me with these words. She goes, I am so sorry. Which you'd want neither your surgeon nor your hairstylist to ever say.
Yeah.
And I was turned in the chair, and she turned me sideways. I had my son's Caesar cut from like when he was a kid, like a mushroom cut. This part was long, and this was shaved down here. And I go, oh, and I go, what happened? She goes, I got to talking, which is what I think hairstylists do when they cut hair. So I don't know if I accept that. Mm-hmm. And what I trimmed your beard with, a 3, I forgot to change it to a 5, and I shaved all around your head. And my wife had said, she says, well, don't get it too short. And I said, sure. And so I said, well, you're going to have to fix it now. And she goes, it's only 1/8 of an inch. And I go, no, this is a lot more than 1/8 of an inch. And so my wife, I can see right through to your head now, And this is like a week's grown out. You should have seen it a week ago. It was, even shorter. So I usually don't go with such a short hairstyle, just so people know.
It sounds to me like the moral of your story is don't evangelize.
Don't ever evangelize when you're talking to your hairpin. I'm thinking, I took it from, I talk about sometimes we suffer as we share our faith. Here we go.
Yeah,
sometimes it's a physical suffering that I have to endure. So,
carrying the cross.
Yeah, so that is true, just so you know. And that's my only story for today, because people thought this would be a forum for me to tell stories. But
so you're going to prove them wrong.
I do have, going back to the football thing. My last point is sometimes we might have a fantasy or sports update on this segment, and we have our football draft. And
I don't really get into that fantasy football at all.
Yeah, because you finished last out of 20 teams, and I'm wondering, do you know the game? Are you more of the soccer type guy? It
doesn't ring a bell.
Well, yeah, I have it. I got it on my. I can pull it up. But you were last, and how does that happen?
I don't think this is true.
I think it's factual. I'll send the link. We'll send the link with this here. So, we don't have any guests today because it's new. But we're gonna. If you'd like to come on the podcast, we're probably not.
Wow.
Don't open that up.
Wow, what a door.
Cut the edit. That's something to be edited.
Yeah.
We don't want that door open.
No.
If we want you to come on the podcast, we will contact you. Is that better?
There. Far better.
So we've talked about, my son calling in. Sometimes the 3 of us have done movie reviews while driving back from conference. You think some of those will make it
on the
podcast? Like, letting our...
I can neither confirm nor deny these conversations.
Letting our viewers know, what movies we find that, There's one out there I recommend highly if you're into like zombies. There's Night of the Living Deb. and not kidding, it's my wife. It's she could play that part. My wife watched it.
Her name is Deb.
It is Deb, and you think, I don't buy a lot of DVDs. I had to buy that one and ran it through. My wife watched, and I said, that is you to a T. just Night of the Living Dead. I don't know what's rated.
I told you about that one.
Did you really?
Yes.
I think you did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I've recommended other zombie
You're
movies
even trying to
steal that you thought were the greatest.
He didn't know.
He's trying to steal credit for it.
Like there
Well,
was.
like, your recommendation. I know.
I really thought I'd stumble upon it, but maybe I did.
Well,
I thought that is just perfect. I mean, if you Night of the Living Dead, oh man, you got zombies and my wife. So I know the sales.
What are you trying to say there?
The sales in that are just going to spike. I don't even know what platform you can see it on. I suppose I could loan you my copy. I don't want it lost though because it's the only one I have. So, but I don't know if movie reviews.
That would take a DVD player though.
I have one. Don't you need them?
I don't.
I have a VHS player for pizza.
I don't know if I have a DVD player even.
I have a VHS player.
That's insane. That is.
There's
is
a little
it built into your TV too?
I had one of those.
Yeah.
There's a little gap in our ages. It used to be I was twice his age, but now it's not anymore, right? Because we've all moved up into good. You can't say that anymore. So that little tidbit can't be thrown out there as being funny. So, man, I don't know if I got anything else on my list here. I think I got it all. Whoops. Upcoming events. Hey, the shirts are in. New logo for Messiah. We kind of take off of Victory's logo, so we kind of got same colors and the same design thing going on. We got shirts. We're gonna have some other swag out there. How about stickers? Someone said we should get some stickers going. Those are relatively well. You said they can cost you depending on how you get them.
You can probably do it.
But you got to go printing on our church on our windows on our church doors since we renovated last year. Needed to kind of update some of those things, but we waited to get a logo. That's cool. Yeah, these other things. There's a work day for the ladies, so guys don't show up. Don't show up on that work day. That's September 13th.
You're hoping that gets out before that date. Yeah,
yeah. We may not even get this out before then. This could be good. No. Okay.
Will.
And just so you know,
you're setting your bar pretty high there.
I know this is going to be right on your top of the list thing to try to make this into a podcast, but
right.
Yeah, I don't know. For the first time, if you're saying I'm not watching that again, well, okay, you're missing out on the fun.
You're probably right.
It's going to get better because I have more cat stories.
And if that doesn't sell you,
that doesn't sell you right there. And a few things happen to me that I think are uncommon to man. That sometimes I have shared. I don't know in this format. I mean not.
Some of them are okay.
We'll see how.
With some editing, so
we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe some of my stories are being told, and there's a long beep that Leanne has to be. It's again, we're not cussing. It's just that maybe that's best not for if the kids are watching. I don't know. The kids are watching.
Right.
So.
That implies somebody's watching though.
Yeah. So and guests. I know it'll spike if we announce that our wives will be on. Probably not. We might dub them in.
There you go.
That's a thought, maybe.
That's a better.
But I think with some interesting, I could get Deb down the road here if she watches this and Deb wants to come on. That would be a lengthy one, and because I'm telling you,
I'd be more than happy to interview.
I say this with love, but if you put a GoPro camera or put cameras in our house, we would have a sitcom. My wife and I just the banter. It's just 40 years. 40 years we've been married, but notice based on our faith in God, right? Anything else would have blown this baby up,
What?
But so there's
a
test. There's a test. There's. Yep. You see how I flipped that back?
See how you did
Flip that right back.
Yeah,
so that's years of doing this stuff.
That's podcast art.
So I think we covered the agenda here, and we have. If you're listening to this, we had a great introduction with bumper music, right? And we have bumper music going out.
Yeah. And I want to tell everybody where they can find the links and stuff.
Yeah, you're going to say all that.
Yeah,
but it's going to be because
I'll say the important stuff.
I've had people saying
Good.
I don't have
the most important stuff. She says.
Yeah, right.
But people have said I don't have the Facebook and the YouTube, and I said we'll help you get it out there because if you're subscribing to the Wells Connection churches out there, you might not want to renew because this we might make a shorter like a 5-minute one for after services for people.
You're going to put them through it twice? That's
brutal. Mike Novotny, if you're watching with Time of Grace, got some competition going on here. So shots fired. Shots fired. That's all I'm saying. That this might be the time of chaos, but we'll figure something out. So so how do we back out of this now? Do you say bye for next time?
Till next time.
Smash that subscribe button. Hit the likes. Thumbs up, whatever you do. All those things that are good things. Leave a comment. Send your questions in. You saw us kind of tackle some, some somewhat not, or some funny and some really serious, which we love to do. And we hope we can do this on a somewhat regular basis. So
Patreon link is
coming soon.
Yep, if you want,
we can get paid for this.
You will get a sticker if you're a patron, right? Yeah. So
nice.
And when do we start doing commercials? We got to get a few more viewers before we can do commercials. That we start, advertising things.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay, boy, it's a lot of learning experience, but
I know.
Okay, rest of the day's all downhill. We'll see you till next time. Till then, God's blessings. Take care. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Messiah Victory podcast. Check out the show notes or video description to find our websites, socials, and the anonymous survey link where you can ask questions, request a topic for discussion, or just leave a comment.
Just go point and one of us talks.
Yeah.
That would probably be you, right?
I've got 99 words. Do you really want to burn them now?
You don't want to burn them on the intro, do you?
Sure to smash that subscribe button.
Nice.
I don't know what it is.
Share, like, and subscribe.
What am I forgetting, Leanne? You go, the subscribe button? I go, oh yeah, okay. I guess there's a button that you can...
I knew it'd be weird with the camera.
The tough part.
She doesn't even have headphones in. So we got to stop talking sometimes.
I should hold up signs like,
pause.
hey, you're a little yappy right now.
Just pause in between.
No, you're doing a great job.
No, yeah.
It's the first time.
It's a technical thing.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. If you're going to splice something,
the first time.
If you're like, oh, let's get a little bit out of this, you want to break in it so it looks like it's continuity, right?
Because on my last podcast, wait a minute, I've never done this before. Okay.